audio. Hello, I have hello. Okay, now the audio seems to be fine. I don't know, for some reason, the software was not able to identify or take my input from this microphone. It had initially been connected to my cameras, which is not that great. So I hope now everything is fine. I'll just check that from my. Yep. So fine. Everything seems to be fine from my end. The audio is good. With that, so how has your week been? How is your weekend going? How is life and how are things going on? I just want to even test my chat, so I'll just type in a test message saying hi and want to see how does that appear on my chat, because the last time that I had the chat, it seemed a little bit off, or it did not actually uh, present in a very smoothing way. So yep, that still seems to be some issue with the coloring of the chat. I might have to fix that later or sometime later after the stream ends. Okay, so fine, whatever. I can read your chats nevertheless. Yeah, so how has your week been? How are you doing? The viewers who are watching, if not, we will straight away get into what is our objectives of today. So no worries if there is no chat that's going on. Okay, then I don't see an issue with my software or the audio like how I had in the beginning, nor do I see any lags that's going on. So, if there's a good green signal, then why not dive into today's objectives? So, now before I actually get into what we'll be doing today, now today's stream is going to be a little different compared to what I did the last week. In this stream, I'll be showcasing two labs. One is of TryHackMe and the other one is of HackTheBox. So both are into a totally different domains that I'll be solving today and showcasing today. One is related to what we actually did the last week related to OSINT, and the other one is a very beginner friendly, a very basic machine of HackTheBox that I assume that all of you is going to be enjoying this, and anyone who's a beginner would for sure be amazed with understanding a new platform to get into and start their journey into this field of ethical hacking, right? So yeah, that's the objective of today's stream, and I hope let's just dive into this, right? I'm so excited to just get into and solving this. Let's do that. Let's get into my screen here. And yep, so we are starting with the TryHackMe's water bottle itself. That's the first room that I'll be solving. Let's click on the join room. And with that, I'll be able to come inside here, inside the TryHackMe's room here. Uh, Now, I have actually solved it in the sense that it is not entered here, nor it is both the machines of HackTheBox and as well as TryHackMe. I've solved it before the live stream as a preparation for this live stream, but not entered or shared or anything like that. Even my blog is yet to be released. You can also find my blog in my website pranavarao.tech, where I upload all my blogs related to cybersecurities or the walkthroughs of HackTheBox and TryHackMe. There's a huge list of rooms and machines that I've uploaded here. You can just go through them and solve each of your labs or anything like that. There is more that's related to tech also about how to use tools, backup VMs and Proxmox and everything. So this blog post is also where you can come and view all the contents, all my notes and everything is going to be there. Yeah, that's another resource that you can use. Now let's close that and let's dive into today's room here, which is water bottle from TryHackMe. Now, in this, let's get into the challenge. It says, water bottle. Track down a vanished water station using nothing but fragments of memory and OSINT, right? So this is like a or what do I say, a nostalgia thing that you get when you pass by a street or something and you remember, oh, this is how it was during my childhood or during those days. And then you want to just recollect those memories, right? Like how our parents talk about their stories of their college days. Whenever we go to their nearby places where they lived the past, they show us that this is our school, this is how it was, this was our house, this was our PG, and all those things. So something like that itself, but we are retracing it in the form of a challenge here. Now let's dive into this. Enough of my stories and get into this challenge. After returning to my hometown, I needed a water refilling from a station I frequently used until 2014, but I've forgotten its name and contact number. I only remember it is a 12-digit contact number starting with 63922. While driving near Bonnie Avenue, I noticed a new water refilling establishment now stands where the original station used to be. Can you help me find the name and the contact number of the original water solution station? Sorry, I'm reading it solution. It's station. The flag format that we need to be submitting today as a part of confirming yes that we have identified and completed the challenge. It's in the format of the water station name in the lowercase plus, I mean, in the sense the name underscore and then the contact number. And they've also given us the example of how the flag is that we'll be submitting today here. Okay, so what do we have here with us? They talk about after returning to my hometown, I needed a water refilling from a station that I used until 2014. So, one information is that whatever information that we're trying to fetch from existed till 2014 as of the memory that the person who is telling us is giving us. So, let's also make notes. I use Obsidian to make my notes. So, let's open that. I just don't want my other contents to just show up. I'll just okay, let's close whatever is there and close all these things. Let's open our random notes. It's the editor that I use. Okay, so this is my notes. I'll add a heading here called as forgot the name of the room. It's water bottle. Yeah, so let's write it here, water bottle, and in here we will make our notes. So the fragments of the notes that we are going to be collecting here is that so until 2014. So it's confirmed that any timeline before 2014 or during 2014 we would find whatever they are requesting us to search for. So the timeline, right? So timeline, and I'm going to enter this as 2014. Can we get an older contact also? Yes, sure. We'll be going through the room and then we will be able to showcase that. Older content also. Um Sorry, I read as contact. Older content in the sense what content? Okay, let's get into this. This is timeline, not time like timeline. So it's around 2014. And what else do we have? But forgotten its name and the contact number. I only remember it's a 12-digit contact number starting with 6392. So let's copy this part of the information that they have provided us and add it raw in here. It's a 12-digit contact number starting with 6392. Then what else is provided to us? It says while driving near Bonnie Avenue. So that's the area name, I guess. Let's copy that also as a information that we can use. So near Bonnie Avenue, I noticed a new water refilling establishment now. So there is a new water station, right? Establishment now stands where the original station used to be. Can you help me find the name and the contact number of the original water station? So our objective is to find the original name of the water station and the contact number of the, I guess, the old station itself, right? So this is the objective that we need to be finding today. And the flag should be in the format of this, the water station in the lowercase underscore contact name. So name underscore then the number here. So this is our objective, to find the original name of the water station and also the contact number of the older water station that is there. Okay, so with this, right, what shall we do? Let's get into searching about Bonn Avenue, right? Let's copy this address and I'll open a new tab in the Firefox browser here so that I don't mess up with the existing tabs that I've prepared to showcase today. This is Bonnie Avenue. Let me close this so that it doesn't take my actual location. We see that this is major east-west uh, through thoroughfare and Eastern Metro. Okay, it's in basically in Philippines. So whatever area that we're trying to search for is in the area of Philippines. Now, as a general search, what we can do is we can search about water stations. If I can type that right. Oh, my keyboard also is stuck. Stations in Vaughan Avenue. Yeah. Uh, yep. So, what a refilling station. There are so many things. So, I feel it's a better thing that we go through map and identify this. So, let's click on open in map. And this is going to open the contents of the map and the locations there. Let's do it in the dark mode because I always say if you're a professional hacker or if you call yourself to be a hacker, you need to be having a dark mode. You cannot be in the light mode because that attracts bugs. I, I hope what you, I'm just joking, but I hope you get the humor there. Okay, so uh, we have the Bonnie Avenue Road. I can see it here. It starts right here from this location, and there are also so many other contents that I'm able to see, but luckily this is pointing with the red thing showing what are the water stations. So let's start from the Pond Avenue. Where is it? Did I lose it? No, it's here, right? So let's come to one of the nearby station. This is the first one that hits up on the map. Let's go with that itself. It's called as Water Market Water Station, right? Let's, can we have a street view? Is there a street view here? That's good. So then let's bring in the water market station. Yeah, it's right here. So let's drop this person there and check where do we have our water market solution or station. Where is it? I can't see it in the map. Oh, okay. So, oh, I zoomed in a little too big. Let's zoom out and right there. Okay. What else? Oh, it's right here. I came into the wrong place. Yeah, water market. Yeah, it's the water market itself. And yeah, I can see this here. But now, how do I know that? Is this the exact location? Again, I don't see the phone number as it is specified right here. That it starts with a digit 63922. I don't see it here, the phone number. But again, they also said that there was a older water station earlier, and now there is a new water station which has come up. Now, in a map, you have a very good feature of going with the back date. Now, if you closely see here in a map, I hope I can zoom that in. You can see here it says see more dates, right? If you click on that, okay, that should have actually shown something. Oh yeah, it is here. So you can see the trace backs of earlier dates. In the sense, how was this place in Feb 2024, or how was this date in March 23, or in April 22, or in 21 of Jan. Now, going back to the date, I can also see one in April 14th. And interestingly, it seems that water market was still existing during that time. Now, they've blurred the numbers here. That I guess we can even Google that and then identify the place or the phone number of it. But this store is existing since 14, right? And it has continued to even be in 24, implying that this probably could not be the right address. And I don't know for what reason now it is not blurred, but in the earlier versions it is blurred. The phone number, I have no idea. But yeah, anyway, that's the thing. So I can mark out this water market out of my list because that's even continuing to exist till 2024, and it is also existing in 2014. So this is not going to be the store there. So let's close out of this or go back from this location. Let's come this, bring this out and even close this thing. Let's search for this itself again. Water stations. So not the water market, right? What about Grandeur Purifying Drinking Water Station? Where is it? It exists in the Bonn Avenue itself, in that road. Um, okay, so OSINT, yes. You're doing OSINT. Yeah, this is part of OSINT itself. Later in the stream, I'll also be going into Hack the Box, where we'll be doing something more hands-on and more interesting compared to OSINT also. So stay tuned in for that also. Yeah, so let's dive in here. It says Grandeur Purifying Drinking Water. Let's also look into that and see if this place also is having something. Let's go for a street view of this place. Where is it? Uh, I don't see it here. Right here? Oh, okay, here. Yeah. So this is another water purification center. Let's go and backtrack this also. Let's go to 2014. And yes, we still had the same thing there. So again, we can rule out this thing or this water purification there because that still says the same thing that it is existing since 2014. Now, clearly, they've said that it's a new water station is currently existing there, and it is uh, it was only existing, or they remember it being existing in 2014. Okay, so what else do we see here? There are so many here, and this road, the Bonn Avenue Road, is actually very long because it starts from somewhere right here. It starts from here, and this continues to go from Bonny Avenue to this huge circle here, and then till the end of this highway here. So that's a huge path to look into, and we get so many list of water purifications here. But there are a couple of just few more water stations that we'll just go through and see if there is anything, because this challenge indeed is not going to be taking a lot of time. But let's just go through all of them. Let's have a street view and check. This is Quinn Water Station. Okay, and the number also doesn't start from the existing or the older one. It's 63922, right? Now, what about the older days? Was it existing even back then? Oh, there was nothing in 2018. What about 2014? Oh, okay, this is interesting that this is not existing at all in 2014, and in 2017 it's still not there. In 2018, no, and not even in 2019. In 2019, there is two. So 2019 Jan, there is nothing. But since 2019, in the month of October, there is a new water purification center. Now, from the context and from the description that they've given us, that there was an existing till the time of 2014. They remember it. And in the place of it, there is a new one which has come up. So we can again rule out this water station also from our list. What about this one? Water refilling station business seminar. Let's have a street view of this also. Where is it? Okay, so huh? The image shows this itself. Okay, but this is not like a water purification. Is it the same, or is it in the front here? Nope. What is this? Apex hardware and consultation supply. Okay, not that. But oh, I guess this building itself. Huh? Okay. This is this is confusing because the image shows something else, and okay, whatever. Let's backtrack and see if that was a station back in the past. And clearly, no. This looks like some house was existing, or yeah, yeah. It's some house that it's some house that is existing. So and there's some garage also here. So clearly from the timeline, yeah, I can see some cars also in here. So this probably could be someone's house till that point, and I don't know for what reason they have. This is the same thing, right? Clearly, this is a house, and not this one for sure. Okay, let's close this also out, and let's get into this one here. Alfasco water refueling station, and let's get into the street view of this. Uh, is this Northern Heaven Water Station? The name says something else, right? But yeah, it's the same name from the map, and I guess the banner says something else, right? A wellness spa. That's a wellness spa, and this is the water station. What about this one? What can we backtrack this to? Let's go to 2014 itself directly. And yeah, this is different. See, you can see that in 2024 it's North Heaven, and in 2014 it's Aqua Best, right? And oh, it also changed to this water refueling station in 2018, and 2019 it has also changed. Oh, sorry, it remains the same from 2018 till 23, right? So this is the water station that has changed. but the number doesn't match, right? The numbers which is starting from here doesn't match to what exactly is here. But nevertheless, that can also be Google searched, because sometimes it's the local vendors numbers which are going to be there, but not of the company. And phone numbers are a lot when it comes to a business, so you'll have multiple phone numbers. So we can Google search for Aqua Best and check if there's any uh, results coming to that. So Aqua Best and the address of this location. So I'll just copy this and paste it here, because that's the address of it, but the business name has changed. So this is continuing to be the same thing there. So that should exist if that's existed in the internet in the past. And I'm just opening all these random sites to just see if there is any. Uh, oh, it's downloading some Excel sheet. Let's close that. Uh, yeah, that's done. So let's go through one by one of these sites to see if there's any phone number. 6325, it is 6392. Contact your message. Okay. This number seems to be uh, yellow color. So let me change that from disclose all these ads. Dark mode. Let me just turn off that. And yeah. Oh, okay. So we get the number matching here. So it is 63922. And in here also we can see 63922. This is 2, this is 5, and this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is the 12-digit number that also matches with the requirement. So we need a 12-digit number and the name of it. So that gives us, or that helps us solve this machine here. So THM, then the curly brackets, and the name of this was Aqua Best. Let's paste that in here. Underscore and the phone number. Let's copy the phone number from here. Copy link. I don't want to copy the link. I just want to copy the content here. Can I not copy the content? Now what? I'll just. What is happening if I? Okay, what will happen if I click on this? Oh, no need. Oh, it's strange. I'm not able to copy it. Copy link. Oh, I get an option here. So, yeah, let's do that. And let's copy the number from here. Copying the number, let's come to our chat here and close down all these things. Let me copy the phone number and paste it in here. Press on check, and that's done. So with that, we have completed the OSINT challenge of this room called as water bottle. Right. So this was a very basic and a very simple OSINT challenge of finding an address and their phone number related to a business that was existing in the past and then no more existing. So it's a common challenge that is presented. My camera seems to be a little off, right? I'm noticing it now. I hope that's okay. Yeah, the now it looks okay. So yeah, so this is a very simple challenge that we had. I will just get into our chatting screen here, and oh, we see a lot of chats here. Can we get the older content also? Yeah, it's existing on my YouTube and even on my blog post here. You can go here to the blog post and you can find all the links here, and it's also there in the down in the description below. You can find the my blog post domain or the URL, and you can click from there also. You'll get the same blog page. Again, the blogs also contain steps, like for example, if I get into the dev diaries, which was the last week's stream, it also contains each and every step that I used, and you can just copy the commands and then run it on your own. So uh, the blog is like my notes that I do, and then I just upload it there. So yeah. What else do we have? Is it OSINT? Yeah, it's part of OSINT itself. Now, again, from the last stream, as I explained, OSINT is open source intelligence gathering. So anything that you use as an open source medium to gather information comes under the process of OSINT itself. And OSINT is a term given for the process called as reconnaissance. So reconnaissance is nothing but gathering information, like as much as information possible. If you're gathering it, it's called as reconnaissance. Now, okay, I guess I did not answer this question in the last stream about why do we actually need reconnaissance, right? Let me put my uh, face in here. All right. Now, the reason that we need reconnaissance is because when you are actually performing some kind of exploit or some kind of an attack against your target, again, remember, whenever I mean attack or a target, I mean in an ethical manner, and where you have a written consent or written agreement between the client or the person or anything like that, and they also mostly sometimes own the asset that we are trying to attack or perform whatever activities that we're doing. It's either they're owning it, or they are going to be owning the complete responsibility of the infrastructure. So in such cases, reconnaissance is going to help you identify kind of to define and strategize your attack, right? So it's like, now if I have to perform any military operations, I need to identify my targets. Where are they? How are we going to be infiltrating into their territory, or how are we going to be landing into their areas, or how are we going to be exploiting it? So all those research phase of identifying the person, identifying the methods, creating a TTP, which is tactics, techniques, and procedures. It's all about uh, preparing all those things. So reconnaissance is like the gathering phase. It's the initial phase, and also a continuous and prolonged phase, which you do in a case of red teaming or any case of hacking environment. It's about getting those informations. Now, if you're doing any certifications, right, like CH or OSCP or anything like that, they actually emphasize more on OSINT and reconnaissance and gathering information itself, because at every stage you need to be gathering more and more information about it. uh, One other place where we gather a lot of information is like social media. Someone might have taken a selfie saying that, hey, this is the first day at so and so company, this is where I'm sitting, or they'll take a selfie of them in their desk, right? And most often, trust me, they'll have a the paper, what is that, paper sticky notes basically stuck on their display or the table or somewhere, where they'll have their active directory or the usernames and passwords of that. So we also use those information from social media to be able to like say, hey, when you go to that environment, now when you go to this user's desk, or if you meet this user, most often they don't change their passwords, or that could be a reset password itself. They have written it there on the table. Try attempting this. So it helps us into even automating it. If you carry a bash bunny, or if you carry a rubber ducky and then insert payloads into it and execute it, so that's going to help us. So reconnaissance is like that phase where you get a lot of information, where you capture everything in it. That's why we do reconnaissance. And yes, this is OSINT. And I love this whole OSINT process, because not only passive reconnaissance, also active reconnaissance, because it engages you. It makes you think creatively. It makes you understand situations, try to make like a map and charts and all those things of your target, and then execute it. So I love OSINT. So that's why I love to even stream it and showcase it here. Okay, Joe, are you doing OSINT? Yes, this is OSINT itself. Very nice. So for backdated contents, we can find what was present at that time. Yes. So what happens is Google Map usually stores data even from the past, right? If you go to any address, you can click on see latest date, sorry, see more dates, and then you will be able to look at contents here. Now, okay, again, I want to just give you all a practical usage of having a street view. It's not about finding phone numbers or older businesses. There is much more complex thing that is hidden behind any such reconnaissance that we do. And that is, let's say you want to enter into a building, right? Now, obviously, a building is going to be containing a lot of security parameters into it. You can use Google Maps or any such open source platforms to be able to figure out and map out information related to what are their physical security aspects, such as where is the security guard standing, right? And where is Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to show my screen here. Uh, yeah, this is the screen. Like I meant to say that you can click on see more dates here, and then you can capture the dates here. But let's get back to what I was saying. So what you can do is you can map out a physical representation of where could the security guards be standing near that gate, or where could the cameras be placed, at what angle the camera is. Now, before you actually go into that place, if you're able to gather all those information, right, it's a huge amount of asset or resources to you, which you can easily use for performing your activities. Now, this mainly comes in during your red team aspects, like we do red teaming, and during that time we use the available informations like this for a data center or buildings security. We want to map out, okay, where are the entrances, what are they doing in the entrances, are they doing any do they have those metal detectors, or do they have any aspects that can be that can potentially harm me if I'm trying to enter in with a negative intention or anything like that. So it helps us identify that. I can also show a very practical example. Now, since I don't have a consent of anyone, I just want to see if I can find any public data that I can just use to demonstrate this. Uh, I'm just skimming out here and trying to see if I can find something useful. Let's say this looks like a camera, but I want something which is more evident and something which is very popular to map out and frame. Uh, Not here. Okay, so let's do one thing. I will just put my face here, and I want to just search because this is not scripted. I don't want to disclose any sensitive information which potentially could lead into any other consequences like lawsuits and also. I just want to make sure I am trying to do something which is not that devastating if I even show it publicly. I'll just see if that can be possible here. I'm just skimming through it because this is a very interesting aspect which I feel is going to be useful if I just show and present the practical implementations of this. Uh okay, so let's get into here, right? So now this is a random mall that just came into my mind, and I want to show how OSINT actually helps. Now, let's say hypothetically, now again, a disclaimer that I'm putting out here, there is no intention, there is no means of motive or anything like that to showcase this. This is purely just for a purpose of example. And I want to hold no implications or responsibilities of demonstrating this. So it's purely just for the purpose of an example that I'm just showcasing this. Now, nearby this mall, there is a company which is there, right? What can I see from here is that I can see that there is a road. Okay. If I have to brute forcefully enter into this building, let's say the building which is behind this, uh, I can actually randomly go. There is no physical aspect such as a barricade or something which would slow down my speed existing here, right? If I want, I can push my car inside and just go inside this building. I can see that there is a camera which is standing there. There is a single security guard in the gate who is probably looking and taking care of the traffic or anything like that. And we can also see that there is a majority of people around here. So there is a crowd there. So if I ever intend to, let's say, I want to enter into this building with uh, without a permission into it, okay, in a manner where I have no permission to go in, I can map out what are my aspects and how can I get into it. So I can see there's a camera here and it is pointing a little downwards. So this probably could be a blind spot for me or for the camera to capture me. I can see that there is another post here which is meant for the security guards to be sitting. I can see there's a fire extinguisher and a fan in here. What else? There are lights. That's okay. But mainly as a security aspect, I have a camera and a single security guard. And there is no something which is going to be blocking me if I want to enter into this building forcefully, right? So usually, whenever we audit data centers. We make a point in physical security saying that any building which has an entrance to a vehicle must have a barricade in between, which is going to slow down them into brute forcefully entering into a building or anything like that. So it's like a perimeter wall where you want to add into it. So that is nothing like that. So it's one of the possible vulnerabilities that I can figure it out. Where is cybersecurity into this? The thing is, I don't want to bring cybersecurity aspect into it, but uh, you are getting my idea about how powerful is it used by criminals or anyone who is having an intent of doing something with that. Like, not only that, if I enter into this location here, this is a very popular mall in Bangalore. Okay, I just came into a wrong view there. Then let's just come out here. Where is this? Can I potentially go in? Can I go inside and see? Someone would have taken a 360, right? Here, into this. Okay, that's not taking me in. But again, here you know that, yeah, there is a road which is going. There are people here. Yeah, this is the exact thing that I was talking about. So they are checking. Okay, bags are being scanned. So if I'm trying to carry something which is not that or something which is harmful, if I'm trying to carry, I can see that okay, they're checking the bags, and probably they're also doing a fist check, which means that they are trying to see if we are carrying anything that would potentially harm or anything like that. So there's a queue also, which means that they're doing it methodologically, and we can figure out such informations. Now, in cybersecurity, that also comes into a play when you're doing red teaming and physical security checks. So you can figure out things. Okay, we see a security guard standing here, probably guarding this area or managing the traffic. I'm not sure. And we can see those aspects there. So this is the very practical implementation of using OSINT with Google Maps and other places. It's not just about backdating some information. It's also about uh, gathering information which you can use for any public resources. Now, again, a disclaimer that I'm repeating, that whatever I showed in this video or whatever I'm streaming here is just for the purpose of example, and I have no intention or no motive to give a potential harm or even do anything in public to degrade or upgrade their name or anything like that. It's just there for the purpose of an example. That's it. So yeah. Okay, so what else? From not pro. Okay, I did not get that. Hi. Okay, so now let's. I don't know why my stream chat is shown in a little weird way. Technically, that should have come out. I mean, white color text would have come out. I'll again figure it out later after the stream is done. Yeah. Okay. So now let's get into the other machine that is there that I had prepared for Hack the Box. Let me. That it's safe to close in here. I assume it is. There is no window that I specifically need. So, oh, my computer seems to be stuck. I am I live? What's happening? Okay. Hello, am I back online? Okay, so yeah, I am back live. I just want to just make sure I come up on my phone also. I hope I'm live, right? Am I live? Okay, YouTube seems to be working fine. So I assume that I'm live itself. Okay, let's just continue there. Okay, so let's get back to this is done. This is TryHackMe. So let's just close this window and let's get back to something interesting now. Yeah, I said that the screen chat. Okay, no, actually, what happened is my screen got blacked out. In the sense that OBS seemed to be doing something weird. That's the reason I got scared if I'm live or if uh, if that's working fine. So everything seems to be fine. So let's just continue here uh, with the hack the box. Right now, this is my personal favorite. Now, again, we will go with the adventure mode. There's also another mode called as guide mode, which is related to, like, they'll take you step by step. Now, again, the only reason I can stream this is because this is left to be open source. But majority of the time, HackTheBox requires us to not stream or share their contents until the machines are retired. But this is an active machine, and it consists of no points. Also, it's very beginner friendly. It's like a very basic machine to solve. That's the reason I thought I'll just bring it up on the stream so that anyone who is willing to get started and is starting up can enjoy this room. But again, I'll tell you one more thing is that for this room or this machine to solve, you need to have some prerequisite knowledge. It's like you need to know how to use Nmap. You need to know how to how does Linux work basically in general, and to also learn about Linux privilege escalations. What are the roles and responsibilities of different users in the Linux machine? Also, some knowledge about networking, network traffics, and analyzing network PCAP files. So all those prerequisite knowledge are also required into this. So, but nevertheless, it's going to be a beginner friendly. I will go hands on and friendly with it. Anyone who is willing to just go as a following up or wants to do it alongside with me, you can sign up and then just start with this, right? Okay, so first thing, let's connect to their network. Let's open their VPN connection. For that, it's Pranavarao, then their VPN network, right? Let's get into the screen now. Yep. So hack the box cap is what we'll be starting now. And we are going with the adventure mode itself. We don't want the guided mode because guided mode is going to be like more of a questions and you answer them. Let's do something that you would face in real world scenarios. So I've copied the IP address. What we'll do is let's remove all these information from there and rename it with cap HTB, right? And this is our IP address that we have got. There's no other information. All that we have is a single IP address, and we need to be submitting two flag as a proof of compromise, like to say that yes, I have submitted the user flag. I can do it here. After I get the user flag, I can submit it. And same goes with the root flag also. After you gain the root user of this Linux machine, you can submit the root flag. So these are different privileged user level that you need to be compromising. And all that right now we have is an IP address and some basic knowledge that it's a Linux machine and it is easy. I mean, nevertheless, it's like a Linux machine. Now, machine info is going to be a little spoiler. That's the reason I'm not going to be reading it, or else it's going to be a spoiler about how are we going to be solving it. But this talks about a brief summary about what exactly is this machine doing from what we are doing, and also they give a related academic module. So anyone who is wondering how do I learn anything which is relevant to what we'll be solving today, you can go through the modules which is present in Hack the Box Academy. You can sign up for network enumeration with Nmap, Linux privilege escalation, and an introduction to network traffic analysis, and many more which they have mentioned here. You can just follow along. You can go through all these modules and then later also come back into this and then continue it, or you can just go through it and then later study those modules. Okay, so let's start into this. Let's copy the IP address again, and we have no other information. Let's open up the terminal here. That's the favorite place where I go. Let's go into our directories and then dump everything there. So this is YouTube dump, the folder which I've created for this. And in here, let's create another directory called as HTB cap, right? Inside HTB cap, we'll also create another folder called as nmap. And now we have a folder called nmap. So what is the first step is that when we have an IP address, we clearly have no information about what exactly is this doing? What is this server exactly hosting, or what is this? We have an IP address, but we don't know what is the operating system. In this case, it's defined, it's at Linux, but in majority of the cases, if you get an IP address, you have no idea. Its IP address is nothing but like a address given to that machine, but it says no more information about it. So, as a first step, I want to analyze what type of operating system is that, and also what type of services or contents, or what exactly is that machine doing. That should have it should have some purpose, right? If not, it's just a computer which is running. Again, that is also a waste of resources, because if you're running a computer on idle, it consumes a lot of power, but there'll be some purpose of any machine existing on the network. I want to know what it is doing. For that, we use a tool called as nmap, right? It's a tool called a network mapper. In short, we call it as nmap, which does the job of identifying what ports, what services, and what the IP address is doing, right? Now, network mapper maps out the network and its related assets information. Like, I use this, or it is generally used for gathering the ports which are open in the Linux machine or any machine that you're trying to scan into, and they reveal the services related to those ports. And if there are any, there are many more things. Actually, I can't get into what nmap does because it's a whole nother thing, but it does the job of identifying the ports and services that is running on the target machine, which gives us an idea about what could that machine be doing on the network, as well as what operating system it is running. So let's do that. Let's run sudo nmap, and for the switches, to see what switches are we supposed to be using, because I want specific information from it. You can see these things from here. Now, if it is the first time that you're seeing any nmap command or output from here, I know it's going to be overwhelming. You will not understand majority of the contents what is being shown here. That's the reason you need to have some prerequisite knowledge from their academy page or anything like that, and then get into it. But I will go as much as I can break down with the, which is whatever is relevant to the challenge here. So what I want to do right now is that I want to, if what I will do is I'll open this on another side by side window, or else it's going to be too small for anyone to see it there. uh I will say sudo is nothing but the super user do, and then nmap hyphen ss. I want to do a I want to do a TCP synchronization scan. So, what is TCP? What is synchronization scan? Again, you need to have some knowledge about it, or else the stream is going to be so long that it's going to be too difficult to explain. So, what I'm doing is I'm figuring out what ports are there. So, I'm using this protocol for scanning those ports which are enabled in this server there. Along with it, I also want to know the version numbers of it. I can see this option or the switch from here. It talks about what is the service version info that is enabled in the target server, and hyphen s. I guess that's it. I just need these two information, and I want it to be really fast, so I'll say T5. Again, this information can also be found from here. It is going to be like the performance. Like, the higher the number it is, the faster it is going to start scanning, because I don't want to waste my time spending it to just keep scanning. Because generally ports are around from 1 to 65,000 some number. So how many computer ports exist? It's around 65,000 something. Yeah, 65,535 logical network ports. So it is going to start scanning for all of them if I specify it there. But in general case, if you don't specify any limit or upper limits or lower limits for the scan, or nor give it to scan the complete thing, it's going to generally go for the top 1,000 port numbers, which is embedded into it. So it's only going to go for the top 1,000. In that way, it's good, but again, I want it to be much faster. That's the reason I'm specifying T5, and then pasting in the IP address of my target machine that I want to scan. Is it the IP address right? Yeah, it's right. And then I want to also save this output, right? Because in an nmap scan, I don't want to simply lose the output later. So I want to save them. I will save them in all the formats inside the nmap directory that I already created. So nmap, and then I'll give it a name called as cap.1, and pressing enter, that is going to start scanning my target network or the target system for any open ports that is there. I could have even given the verbose output to see if it is actually doing anything or not, but anyway, that's going to do the job. And we get the output here. I'll just close this part of the terminal that is not required anymore. So from this scan, I can see that port 21 exists. Now, port 21 is open for FTP, which is File Transfer Protocol. It is like a protocol used for sharing information. If I want a file to be transferred from my this laptop to another server, which is there, I generally use FTP to send and share and download the files in it. So the file transfer protocol is hosted at port number 21. Port 22 is the default SSH. It is for connecting a remote session into another server without any GUI or anything like that. So it's a SSH protocol which we use for connecting into a server. Then port 80 is by default for any HTTP server or services that is running in there. Along with it, we can also see the version numbers and the version names of it. So it is saying VSFTPD 3.0.3 and the version of SSH which is installed, along with, oh, it's also showing a version of HTTP which is unique core. Okay, that's something. Okay, so fine. So we get these informations. Now, why do we need the version number? Sometimes what happens is that the service that it'll be running might be older version of the service that is enabled. What happens because of that? If there's a 0 day or if there is a exploit which is publicly available with that particular version number of the service that is running, you can exploit it directly. For example, SMB version 1 in Windows, which led to the WannaCry ransomware, was because of the vulnerability that existed in the SMB version 1 type of service or the protocol, which was exploited by those malware. That's the reason it exploded and spread itself across multiple systems around the world because of the version of the protocol that was being used. So for that reason, we also want to look at the version which the target system is running. Now, with these three ports, what can I get to know? I can also see that it is a Linux machine. Now, in case if I wanted to just know even the version name or the operating system, I can mention it here by specifying it as O, and that is also going to identify the operating system of it, right? Now, I'm not saving the output because I've already captured the required output, but specifying the O operator is going to be also giving you the operating system related information. Now here we see that it's OS service info, and it is relating these service related information to the operating system. But in here it is specifically learning and capturing the information about the operating system, and it is mapping out that it is running a Linux operating system. So you can even figure that out from the specifying these options. Now again, as I said, Nmap is a very powerful tool and it has a lot of options that you can do in, but getting into that in this stream right now is not feasible. But I will create another video talking about Nmap soon. Okay, so with these three ports that is given to us, what we'll do is let's also make notes. Okay, we identified the ports that we have found. I will copy the entire content from here to here. This is important for me, and then paste it into this. Okay, so with this, what do we get to know? We get to know that it is running port number 21, which is used for FTP, and another one which is port 22, which is for SSH, and port 80, which is running HTTP. Now that we understand what service that these machines are running, I want to know how do I start exploiting this machine, right? For that, I have three possible ways to get into this machine. Now, any other okay, now to understand why are we doing this port, it's important to understand what port exactly is. Now, a port, what is enabled in the computer, is like a hole which is made for you to interact with that server. It's like a window that you can interact with the machine or the person who is behind that window. So any other places, it is strictly blocked. If you try to get inside it, it just blocks. So you can't go anywhere else. It's like a very concrete and the grilled and iron re-infrastructured and refurbished walls with iron rods inside and all those things. It's like very hard to get in if the port is closed or if it is filtered by some firewall or anything like that. But a port which is open and which has been identified by Nmap, they are like meant for you to communicate with the server. So it's open. Anyone who has the right credentials and the right access to it, you can start interacting with these port numbers. So that's the reason these ports are enabled. Now, that is the only three places that we can actually get into the machine if we want to get into it by any one of these three ports or the services that is running in this. Uh, so port 21 is there. Now, for port 21 FTP, what we need is a username and a valid password to be able to interact into this system. But there is also one more thing. There is an anonymous, ANO, anonym. I'm very bad at spelling. So OUS, whatever the spelling of anonymous is. Yeah. Okay. So we have an anonymous login also enabled in FTP if it is misconfigured, right? We can even try to get into FTP service if it is misconfigured, right? If not, if it is well defended, well protected, you can't really get into this anonymous login inside it. So we have two options. Either we get the username and the password of the FTP server to be able to connect back and then, sorry, FTP service and then connect back into it. And we can try to explore into it. Or we can try to get into SSH. But SSH again requires you to have the valid username and the password to be able to get inside it. Or we need something like a private or public key, right? We need any of these two informations to be able to log in into SSH. As of now, we just have the IP address which is shared by them. We don't have any of these credentials. Nor do I have the username, nor do I have the password, nor do I know if anonymous user is present or not. But we are going to be trying this. So let me just highlight this. Oh. Let me just highlight this, saying that I can try for a misconfigured anonymous login into this service of FTP. I can try that. And for SSH, I don't have the username, nor do I have the password. Again, I can guess and try to brute force all these things using powerful tools, but that's a very impractical and illogical thing to do, because if you're trying to brute force into usernames and passwords of a server, first thing is you have no idea what the username is. So you need to be trying n number of usernames, which as soon as you try to do it, any intrusion prevention detection systems, sorry, intrusion prevention systems and intrusion detection systems are going to identify it. Firewalls are going to block you, and the game is over. So you can't really use usernames and passwords there or try to brute force them into it. And we clearly don't have any private or public keys. So what exists is the HTTP service. So HTTP is like a website. Now a website is meant to be open. Again, you can have a username and password to be able to get inside the web contents, what is there. But HTTP or a website is a public resource. Even though you have a login page, that login page is also a web page which is publicly available, right? This is public. So I don't have to write anything here. So this is just public. I can directly access this, right? So I'm doing this mistake since the time. Yeah. So I can directly access the HTTP service there. So let's try with anonymous login with the FTP server, because if I get a good foothold now, because HTTP is anyway going to be public, I want to keep that in the later phase, because I know that yes, I can do something with that if I don't get anything else. But right now, I want to try with the FTP service if I can try to get inside it, if there's any misconfiguration related to it. So what I will do is I will copy this IP address here and I will run a service called as FTP. Now, how do I use FTP? You can use the help tab and then identify and see how to use it. All those information is present here. Again, please don't feel overwhelmed. As you start doing this and continue to do this, you will get along with it. But in a general sense, it's about how do you just like a normal asking it, how do you ask for help and all. So we have this tool called FTP with which I can try to uh, run or connect to its FTP service. So I call it as FTP and then call with the your IP address of the target system and pressing enter. It's going to say it is connected to the system, which means that it is responding to the FTP service, but it is asking me for the name. Right now, it's going to take a default name. If I don't press anything, it's going to try with Pranavarao, that because that's my system username. Uh, if I want, I can specify anonymous. Now, since I'm very good at spellings, let me copy this. Can I change it? No. That's a lowercase a. You know what? I know that spelling. Anonymous. MOS. Yeah, anonymous. I'm pressing enter. It says please specify the password. Now I don't have a password, but an anonymous login into an FTP service also means that there is no password for it. So as I press enter, if it gets connected to the FTP server, it means that anonymous login is present into it. Pressing enter without any password. I've not specified any password. It says login incorrect, login failed, which means that it might be misconfigured in any other format. I again go with always a notion that yes, everything is misconfigured. Go with that notion because that's how you will try to get a mindset about getting into hacking or trying to break that security system. So yeah, uh, again, this seems to be like okay, anonymous login doesn't exist with a password combination of it. Again, you could try with anonymous as a username and password and try to do it, but trust me, there is no anonymous login into this FTP server. Let's close out with that and come out of it. We can't go with the FTP service tab. So let's also add it into our notes that it failed. And if possible, let's also add a screen of this. It's going to help us. Now, why I always make a notes is because when you are doing a CTF, when you're participating in a CTF or anything like that, if you are making a notes about what exactly you're doing, you will not fall into that spiral thing. It's very important that you make notes as you're solving these machines because right now it's just a small thing, but when you participate into CTFs or hackathons which are beyond a week duration of time or beyond 24 hours, like Hack the Box, what was that business CTF that I participated, it goes for a week. It's a weekday challenge that we need to hack into 72 computers or something like that. So in during that time, if you don't document and follow through your steps, it's going to be a huge pain to you later as you get into it. So it's always important that you also make notes along with specific screenshots or specific outputs that you get from the terminal. So I get this information that it has failed. So I will also highlight that part in my notes and get into it. So the only way possible now for me is directly get access with the HTTP server. So let's do that. Let's copy the IP address from here. I will continue in this window itself and paste it in here. It says security dashboard and a web page appears in front of me. Now, what I generally do is now, since again, typing in an IP address is a so stressful thing to remember continuously. So I edit my etc host file, which actually remembers domain names of each IP addresses. So I edit that into adding this IP address. So I say sudo nano. Nano is nothing but the editor. And I mention the file of it, etc and hosts. So this is the file where you can enter or give a custom domain names to the services that you want to have. I'll paste in the IP address that I want to call it as cap.htb because that's the name of the machine cap, and .htb is the domain name that I want to specify to it. And this is the IP address. So X, Y, and enter. I come out of this editor. So now what I can do is I can come here and say HTTP cap.htb and pressing enter, it redirects to the same page that we had got here. But now it has a domain name. Now this is very useful because remembering an IP address is very stressful and it will get complicated as you solve many more when you start getting more data into it, like the internal IPs, external IPs, and many more. It'll become very complicated. So I choose to always add a domain name to it. So I'll make another note here about web application access. My keyboard has been jammed today for some reason. That's the reason my typing speed has also reduced, but it's okay. Again, I just need to clean it. I have not cleaned it. That's the whole problem. So, what I specify? Let me cat it out from etc host. Okay, so let's copy that. That this is the modification that I've done and paste it in here. So this is the domain name that I have specified. Right, done. So this is the domain name of it. Yeah, let's get into this. I'll close in this window which has the IP address. It's the same thing actually. We get this clean dashboard web application page here, and if I just go in through all these, I'm just randomly clicking before I start to see what exactly is there behind the hood. When I clicked on security snapshot, it says 5 seconds of PCAP plus analysis, and this is the window that it is showing me. Uh, Number of packets is 0, number of IP packets 0, 0. Everything is just randomly 0 present here. I guess it has not captured any data which was going back and forth. It also gives us an option to download. So let's download it, and let's put it into a different location. Let's come here to YouTube dump, HTB cap, and let's paste this right here. And it is called as 1.pcap. Is there any information in this 1.pcap? LSLA. Uh, yeah, there seems to be some bytes of information in it. So let's open this pcap file. Now, what is a pcap file? It is a network captured file. I'll show what it is. So there is a tool called as Wireshark for it. Is it not there? Yeah, there's a tool called as Wireshark. It is a tool which starts to capture your network traffic. So whatever is happening in your network, it's going to capture in this place. So if I click on the Ethernet port, which is running on my system right here, as you can see, there is a wave of traffic which is just showing up. These are all the packets of information that is going from my system to the internet, wherever it is going. You can see the IP address here. I'll just stop it here because a network traffic just gets flooded out. So already just by starting it, we can see so much number of packets which has been captured. This is the time when it gets captured, and this is the source, which is my machine. This is the machine that I'm working with. This is my IP address. It's a private IP address. So anyone who is thinking that, oh, I have disclosed my IP address, go on. This is the IP. If you want, you can target this. I give you a full permission to target this private IP address. Again, person who is knowing networking would uh, understand the joke behind this. But yeah, uh, and this is the destination where I'm actually talking to. I don't know what this IP address is. Probably my public IP. I am not sure. I might be harming my ISP by showcasing this IP. But again, who cares? It's okay. So yeah, this is a PCAP, or this is a network packets what are going through. So this is what a computer talks to. This is how your network talks to a website or anything like that. So now I can filter it. Can I have a HTTP traffic in this? Let's do one small analysis with just a HTTP traffic. Continue without saving, just for the purpose of demonstration. If I say, let me just load this itself once again. It's going to show. Oh no, it's not going to show because I'm on the VPN with that. Uh, can I open another one? I can't. Okay, these are the files. I can quit. Yeah, quit without saving. Oh, it just quit via Shark. Let's see if there's any other interface. This is my HackTheBox interface. There's no traffic in it. Let's refresh this. Oh, there is traffic. Yeah, I get the traffic. Let's open this. Uh, there is no data. Let's get into this itself. Okay, now if I try to refresh, I can start seeing all the data which is coming from that interface of port. So I can see the HTTP traffic that is going through. Now, this is the page that I'm trying to query into. So I get all the network traffic which is going back and forth between my web browser and my computer to the server that we are trying to interact here. As you can see, this is my target IP address from the machine here. That is what is also displayed right there. So that's the same thing. So That's the PCAP file. And if I save this, it is called as a PCAP file. This is nothing but a network capturing file, which is that. So I will close all these things. Okay. I want to just stop and save, stop and quit without saving. Yeah. I'll open again Wireshark, but this time we will analyze the file which we have got. So let's open the file. Come to this location, YouTube dump, HackTheBox CAP and 1.pcap, and see if we have any data in here. But no, there is no data as per what was shown here, even in the dashboard. There was zero data which was collected from it. Okay, fine. But I get to know that what this page is doing is that it is trying to capture some network related data and then printing it out and letting us download it. That's good. What about IP config here? Okay, it talks about network information. Let me just take a sip of water. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. With this page, it talks about IP config. As the name says that itself, it is nothing but the network configuration that is there. So it is showing its IP address. It's the private IP address of this machine, and the subnet mask and all those information. So again, we have this information with us. This is the same IP address that we are dealing with. So there is no sensitive or a useful information being disclosed. Now, if you are doing an audit or something as a web application audit, this is a critical finding. You cannot just disclose any information related to the system on the web page like this until unless there is a specific requirement of disclosing those informations. If not, yeah, this is a very bad thing to showcase. What about the network stat? Yeah, this is nothing but the ports which are enabled in this server. So it talks about what are the, if I can zoom in, I hope that's going to be visible. Yeah, this seems to be clear. So this is talking about all the services that is running as well as the port numbers which are enabled for those services. For example, here it says for a local host for the system itself, it's going to have a DNS server which is the default port number of 53, and that is present here along with the port number 22 and port 80 along with another port 80, and this is some random connection which it has got, and these are IPv6 addresses for port 21, which is the FTP server, and port 22, again another DNS server. Now, what are these things like 127.0.53 and all? Those are the local host IP address. So anything that is starting with 127.0.0 and any other number that comes after the third decimal point is a local host address. So that's how we lost X number of millions of IP set of data in the IPv4 address, because anything, I guess it's a 14 million list of IP addresses that we lost because while the makers of the internet or makers of the IP address gave the specific address and anything under it as a local address, because they assumed that they'll be requiring so much requirements, whatever it is. But anything which starts with 127 is the local IP address, and which has 0.0.0, which means that any address can connect to this or any address can host this. So it's just talking that, hey, I have this port number enabled and anything can it can be hosted by any service, and this is the port number, so on with all these things. So this is specifying that only for this IP address, which is the system's IP address on port 80, it is going to be disclosing this web page. Now, for the foreign address, which means that if you're locally in this machine, if you're interacting with that machine locally, this is what you'll be doing. But anyone from the external, what permissions do they have? So it shows that anyone, like, because there's no IP address specified, anyone, okay, for any port number that they're having, they can connect to this IP and then interact with the port number 53 of the machine. Similarly, goes with they can interact from any address to any port number to the port 22 of this machine. So that's what this is disclosing. Now, in a very as we actually, when you do a Linux privilege escalations and much more complicated things, getting this information is like a liquid gold that you get, because after this point you can literally understand what the services are doing, what is the which user has what permissions. As you can see here, it says 101, 1001, and all these things. It's the users who have what privileges. Now I can see that port 22 has the privilege of root user, which is why it is 0, right? And also the process numbers of this. So there is much more useful information from getting such data, but since this machine is dedicated to show it, there is no useful information from it, because we already got all these information from our nmap here. So why did I just clear? Okay, that's all dump, so that's nothing to worry about it. If I look at the contents, what is present in the nmap, and what do we have? A .nmap. We see that we have found all those ports number, which is 21, 22, and 80. 53 is nothing but the DNS server, which anyway can be ignored because it's just going to be containing a addresses and their related names if it is going to be having, like, just like how we added our IP address and the domain name for this challenge, similarly is going to be also present for that local system. Generally we can ignore it, but in this case we can completely ignore it. Okay, so this is what is there in the web page, right? What can we do? How can we exploit this? We don't get any user information other than this whatever user called Nathan is present here. Can I message him? No. Can I go to settings? No. Can I log out? No. Again, why I can say it no is because here it is showing a hashtag symbol, which means that you can't exactly, it's like referring back to the same page again. There's nothing much happening there. Okay. Coming to the dashboard again, I just see all these information actually be presented here. This could be related to some backend information, right? But nothing is shown there. So it's an interesting thing. I'll add it into my notes saying that there seems to be data present, or seems to be a data present, which is being shown in the dashboard of the page. Okay, but we have not found it, so we'll just have this point there. As a when you're trying to examine a web page, what you usually do is also look into the source code of this page. Now why a source code is because this source code is generally going to contain some HTML related information only. You can't see the backend like the PHPs and everything else. You can see the styling and the HTML contents of it. Now here, just like how we are able to see comments of the HTML page, sometimes there are going to be sensitive informations disclosed in it, such as I've seen in majority of the cases, usernames and passwords being just disclosed in the comment of a HTML page. A comment is not going to be shown on the page anywhere here. So a general user, a common user who is not aware about, okay, you can even read a source code and all those things, they would not come to the source code of the page and then look into it. But here you can even find those comments. So all these comments sometimes might also contain some sensitive information or some backend logic that we can potentially use to identify what is this doing under the hood. Like, again, this did some content, right? We were not able to do anything because I don't know how does that work under the hood. So this page gives us some information about, okay, what could be possibly going on. So that's the reason I'm just skimming through this page to see if I can see something informative. I'm specifyingly and specifically looking for any comments which is present inside this page, because these are all just the codes which you can just generally also see here. Now, until unless they have hit something in the white text itself, text color in the background here, I can't really actually identify it. I see something here. It's loading up some chart, and these could be some API keys or API tokens or anything like that. I don't know what it is, but we also get some information which is here, and it is running some JavaScript. Okay, but no sensitive information or some redirects into where can we go there, right? We don't know any of those things. Okay, what about here? It is, again, let's open the source code of this and see if we can see anything here. Uh, Nothing serious. It says sidebar menu is being shown, and all these informations are also displayed there. We don't get anything else. Do we get any logic of how it is working behind the hood? I don't see the logic here. Let's close the source code also, right? Again, IP address. Now this could be hard coded information that we are actually getting, right? uh yeah, this seems to be like, no, this is being fetched. Okay, so whatever information is coming from the here, what we are seeing what we are seeing here is actually being fetched. How can I say that it's right here? Or else it would have, yeah, this is currently, it's currently being fetched from the server itself. If not, we would get a paragraph or something like that written, and then it would be containing the information there. But it seems like it's being fetched. And if you notice the URL of this site, right, under this domain, we can see something like IP. Now, that is something that you would even type on a terminal to get all your IP related information. So if I say IPA, it's what happened. Okay, so IPA. If I'm going to type that, I can see all my IP information here. So all the IP addresses that is associated to this machine can be seen right here. That is what is happening here. So I assume that if this is a command, can I even run a command like who am I? I'm just trying out to see if that does. It says no, the requested URL was not found on the server. If you entered the URL manually, please check your spelling and try again. So, which means, okay, so it is not a command which is being done, but probably could be a pointing address that whenever it loads, it's going to also be fetching from the background and then showing the information there. Same goes with the network status. So net stats, it's an actual command. So if I run this command on my machine here, let me clear that and then press enter. It's going to show all my connected contents which is there in this machine, along with the enabled services that is running here. So I can see that yeah, I have a local address of these ports which are enabled, and it is interacting with all these contents there. So I can see all those information also being present there. But again, if I try running a command like who am I, it is again giving the same error. So okay, so that's nothing in that again. Where do we go next? That's an interesting thing. So now this comes by experience. This comes by going through and having the knowledge of something called as IDOR, which is insecure directory object traversal. Which means that now let me give you a scenario before I actually get into this. Tell me, how would this be that you are an XYZ user, which is who is trying to access some file which is meant for you to access, and you're not an admin user. So you're not an admin user. You are having your set of work which needs to be, I'm sorry, uh, you're having some set of work that you need to be doing, right? And you are working that on a web page. Let's say some other work colleague of yours can also see your data even though they are not authorized to see. That's devastating, right? Because if I'm a user called Nathan in this case, I don't want, let's say, an example user as Max. I don't want Max to be looking at Nathan's work or what is Nathan's profile page or whatever information is stored in his web page. It needs to be roles, and roles needs to be segregated and needs to be separate and must be individual, right? So that's what is happening when you have a session and all those things. So uh, it would be a bad thing if another user can see another user's data or information or anything like that. That's what is coming up now. It's called as an IDOR, which is nothing but insecure directory object traversal. It's, is it right? IDOR, insecure directory object reference. I'm sorry, it's a reference, not traversal. I'm getting confused with another one, but so insecure directory reference is nothing but if I somehow manipulate this web page to show some other user's data, that is the vulnerability here. It should not show. If it is Max's data, Nathan should not be able to access it. But looking at the URL here, if you look closely, it says one there. As a curious user, as a curious person, I want to see what will happen if I say two and refresh the page. Oh, okay. It did not. It did not give that other error that I usually get. Right. It's just like refreshed into another page, which is fine for me. But okay, two is the number that I tried. Right. What about 3. What will happen if I try with 3? Again, it just refreshed to the dashboard. Okay, which is still fine. Oh, I can even see these numbers to be different, right? This number is 1560, whereas, oh, see, can you see here? The URL is 2 there. And for the 2, that I can see 2 packets of number of packets and number of IP packets and whatever this is. So I can see the number there. What about 3? I want to open the new tab and I will check with 4, or let's go with 3 itself. Did I try 3 the last time? Okay. So I can see this is a huge difference of the number which is there compared to for the user 1 that we had. So for user 1, the numbers were different. It was not like 1500. Oh, it seems to be same. Okay. But whatever. If I look at the data here, what is it showing here? It's showing the data of 2, which we initially had of 1, and now it's 000 everything. But here, if I had come and if I try to download it, it's 2.pcap. Let's save that and see what information do we get. We'll open Wireshark and we'll open the same directory, but this time 2.pcap. Again, no information. I guess maybe it is taking this reference now, which has been caused. But okay, whatever this is, fine. The 2 user is okay. What will happen if I try with 0? I'm just being curious here. If I type 0, what is going to happen here? Wow, we get some other user, because I am assuming Nathan's user or data is supposed to be 1. Or even if that's not the case, even if this is like just showing up some random data, I'm able to see the data by referencing the number or the value number of the page there. So just by tampering with the URL, which I would have not got in general sense, I'm able to open this and I'm getting so much data present here. Number of packets is 72, number of IP packets is 69, number of TCP packets is again 69, and number of UDP packets is 0. So I get so many packets which I initially did not have. It was like 000, but this time it is like 72, 69, and so many other things. So I will download this one and it is saved as 0.pcap itself. I'm going to save that. And now let's analyze what exactly is present inside this web browser's data that it is giving us. Also, if I'm the 0th user, do I find anything different here? I don't see the status or anything like that different. Okay, nor here is there anything different. So it was only the security snapshot which it was getting for us is what had a different user. Now it is talking about 3. Again, if I try to go with 0, it's going to show all these packet informations. Okay, in my Wireshark here, let's open this 0.pcap file, which also seems to be containing some information because it shows 9.70 kilobytes of data. So let's open that. And in here, we get so much of data like how we had seen earlier. I'll just take a moment to take a sip of water and also refill my water from this. Okay, I'll just even refill here. I have a whole container of water. The thing is, this because of the lighting and everything, the room also gets pretty much hot. So I require some break, or that lights temperatures is keeping raising. Anything in the chat that I've missed? Anyone in the chat can confirm how is the stream going? Are you able to enjoy? Are you following along or anything like that? Yep. So okay, I don't see any chat coming in. So let's dive in. Let's just dive in into this, and let's see. So what do we have here? So we get a pcap file, and pcap file is nothing but the network's log on everything that is there. Initially, we can even see the protocols. Now, what are these protocols? Again, I highly recommend you to go to Hack the Box Academy and then learn about their networking, Linux, and even related to analyzing PCAP files and all those things. So, I'll just give you a brief and small snippets of the information just to go along and understand about what we are doing here. If not, it's going to be too burdenish. So, just one second before I do that. Yeah, the stream seems to be fine. There is no issue here. Okay. Yeah, good. Great. Now, okay. Yeah. So here, this is a PCAP file. Now, what is happening is they have given us the log of this IP address, which is 192.168.196.1, is talking to a server of this IP address, which is 192.168.19 196.16 with a TCP protocol. It is doing a synchronization. It's nothing but like saying hi to a server. It's doing that connection, and this is the server is responding saying, "Hey, hello, hi." Like it's responding to a hi message, and this is acknowledging that yeah, you have said hi to me, and then there goes a HTTP communication, which is nothing but the the system, which is let me call this as system one, and this okay, let me call this as system one, and this is system 16. So system one is sharing an information of requesting for the web contents to show of the system 16, and that is what the communication is going on. And you can even see the port number. It is port 80, which is being used here, and what else is here. So this is the length of the information, so all those things are there. Let's get scrolling down because I don't see anything interesting that we can actually deal or do anything with it. This is all nothing but, oh, we also see that it is opening some static page. Again, since we don't have access to this IP address, we'll not be able to communicate with this and then actually look into it. But it seems like okay, they're trying to access into some web page and some activities going on related to uh, looking into that website or something like that. Scrolling down, we see a different colored request. That is nothing but the each color. It is each protocol is actually being referred with a different color. You can even modify that, but this is the setting, and you can see that it's marked in pink. And after this, if you pay close attention here, if I can I zoom in this? Is there a way that I can zoom in? Oh yes, I can zoom in even in PCAP. Oh, sorry, even in Wireshark. I feel yeah, this is fine. I hope that's fine on the stream. Yeah, this screen is fine. I am okay with that. Right? Okay. Yeah. So we can see that the request has started from FTP. What we actually initially were trying, this is the FTP request. Like we had FTP also opened in the server that we were analyzing, right? So cat nmap and then cap 1.nmap file. We saw that at port 21, it was hosting FTP. Now I don't know if this log is related to this server itself, but assuming that this has captured some information related to the server talking to some other thing, this is the information that we're getting. So we see that FTP is happening here. If you pay close attention here, we can see that it is requesting for a user, Nathan. That is the same user that we had by default logged in. That is the Nathan user. So it says user Nathan there. And if I look at the protocol contents file transfer, it says user Nathan. So let me just copy from here. Let's copy the field name. Sorry, not the field name, field content. I wanted to copy that content. Visible value. I wanted to copy the value. So I'll copy that value and come to my editor here and say that I have found a username, right? I have found a username from the .pcap. Sorry, it is 0.pcap file, and it is related to FTP. And that information I can just put it in here, saying that the username that I've got is user Nathan. I'll remove all these other parameters which just came with it. Okay, so I have found a user Nathan from this FTP log. I can see it from here. Now, again, this contains every information like the OSI model. That's the whole reason you need to be understanding about networking, is because how does a network packet gets covered up with the OSI models with different layers of requests. Like a web application has multiple layers which it gets combined. Like how does it know which host to go and communicate what port numbers? So all those informations are hidden, and this is how it actually looks like. What you're seeing in the side is actually more useful during an analysis of a PCAP file, but in this case, we don't need such information. So that's the reason we are not getting into looking at this side of the section. But here you can see that it talks about the internet protocols and different methods that it's following and every information of it. Wireshark is again very powerful if you're trying to analyze networks and all. Okay, so getting into this, it says response, and then it's asking something here. It's going to request. So just like how it had requested here of an FTP server for a user, it's asking for a password. Now, what happens with HTTP and FTP and TCP protocols is that they are insecure by nature, which means that there is no encryption which is happening in the background for such communications. That's the reason we recommend people to browse in HTTPS, so that it has a certain level of encryption built into it. Doesn't mean it is secure. It is just that anyone who is capturing a raw network log of your network where you're browsing into something, you will not be getting in the data in a raw format, just like how we are able to see here. You can see, I can see that it has requested for a password, and this is the password which has been passed to. So that is what is going to be avoided when you're using an encrypted channel such as HTTPS websites or any other contents which has FTP into it. Like SFTP is another protocol which is nothing but secure file transfer protocol, which does nothing but encrypts the communication that's happening in between. So in other cases, you would just get some random uh, digits just coming up on the screen if you are seeing there. But in this case, it's plain text. It's clear. So it's asking for the password, and a password was given to it. Following the next request, we can also see that it says login successful. Okay, so this is nice. We get the PCAP file, and inside the PCAP file, we get the username and the password here. Good. So this is the password, right? So we get the password now. We have the username and the password in this. So what else can we do? Now we got this, but we don't know for what did we get it, right? It is just a log that it shows here. It says here's the directory listing and many more other things actually happening in this PCAP file. Again, this is out of scope for what I want to do it, because again, it's just going to go prolonged. But so we get the username and the password from this. And from the hint, it also says that it is related to FTP. Okay. Earlier, we also noticed that our server also has an FTP service into it. And for us to interact with it, because there is no anonymous login into it, there is a password combination that we can use of username and password. What if, what if we try to log in this username and password combination into FTP? Let's try that now in our terminal here. So let's go with FTP. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention the address here. So FTP and cap.htb. I can use cap.htb is because I've already told my system that anything which has cap.htb as a address that you need to fetch into, go to this IP address. So with this, again, that the one which I edited with etc host, that's the same file. So with this, I'm going to press enter. It's connected to cap.htb and it's asking for me for the username. For the username, I'm going to copy this username, paste it here, press enter. It's asking me for the password. I will copy the password here, copied it, and paste it in here, press enter, and login successful. So that's what we wanted, a login successful. Nice. What do we have here? LS, it's like entering passive mode. We can see that we have a directory called as 1001. it has only a read permission for any user other than, sorry, only the root user has the permission to read it. Can we see here to cd001? Fail to change the directory. Again, I can't change the directory, which is fine anyway. So I get to know that this is a very valid username and password. So we get the user combination. We'll also write that this password combination was successful for oh god successful for our FTP login, right? Okay, so we get that credentials done here. Now, what else did we want username and password combination? It was for the SSH service. Shall we try this username and password with SSH service? We just want to make sure and try to see if that's possible here. So I will say SSH. It's a service to connect into an SSH service. So I'll say SSH, and the username is Nathan. I'll copy that, paste it here at app.htb. Pressing enter, it says, "Are you sure you want to continue with this?" I'll say yes. And oh, it is warning, connection is not using a post quantum key exchange algorithm. Okay, whatever. I don't care. So let's copy this password here and paste it in here and check, pressing enter. Oh, yes. So we are able to log in as the Nathan user. So now we have logged into the server itself with this given combination of Nathan and the password there, which is good. So we should also make that note that this password combination also lets you into SSH. I'll mark this SSH as under this into SSH. Yeah, so this is an interesting thing, right? We get that we have an SSH access into this. Now that we have compromised this user as a proof of compromise, if I list out the content, I can see user.txt and I can print that out, cat user.txt. Let's copy this flag. This is the flag which is as a proof of compromise. Coming here and then pasting this here, submit flag. Let's get verified. This was piece of a cake, submit rating. So that's done. So, oh, it went to guided mode. Okay. So now, yes. So we have finished the user flag. Now that we have got the user level, we have reached to one position and here. Let's do some chatting before we actually get into the root level access. Any chats that's yet not answered or anything like that? Okay, I don't see any chats coming up. Tell me, how does this ghost which comes in look like? This also comes in the hacking screen, I guess, like this display. It is set to show up at random intervals. I don't know if it is coming or not. I did not pay attention while I'm streaming. Probably I'll try watching and seeing if there's that ghost which is walking around on this display as I do something. Uh, was it there? I don't know. Was there or not? Yeah. So okay. So there's nothing which has come on this chat so far. Okay. So let's dive into the machine here and talk about what should we do next. Now, ultimately, our goal is that we need to get a root level access, which means that it is the ultimate privilege that we can get in this server, which is the root user. How do we do it? Now that I am a normal user who has logged into this server, how can I do it? Right? So if I list out the contents here, I see nothing here. What about LSLA, which is nothing but to list out all the even the hidden directories inside the file here. I don't get to see anything just present here, which is okay. There's no information or there's nothing unusual that I can actually deal into for getting access or anything like that. Okay. What about if I go to the root of this file and try to see if there's anything here? LSLA here to just make sure that I'm not in a Docker container. Now, if I'm in a Docker container, I would get something like dot Docker and environment or enum, something like that on here, which would prove that okay, I'm in a Docker container, which means that I need to also break out of the Docker container into the local server and then exploit it. So that is a common thing which actually comes into Hack the Box. But since this is a very beginner friendly, like just trying to get you all um, make you all feel the idea or get you the idea about hacking. This is a very simple machine. So there is no Docker container as such here. What else is here? Uh, these are all just the system files that is present here. My question is, can I get into this folder called as root, cd root? It says permission denied because that's the ultimate user that is present inside the system. So once you're the root, you can have all the privileges. You don't have to ask the permission to do or run anything. Like you are like the boss in that machine. So that is the ultimate compromise of the server. So I want to try to get and become this root user. Uh, Okay, so the general way how we would try to go from here is to see if I can see if there's any other user who are present inside the system. So I will say cd home. Now this is a directory for any user who are going to be present in the system. So ls, I only see one user to be present inside the system, or this is their home address. Like it's like a profile name, just like how a Windows has a different profile name for different users. This is the profile name which is given for a different user in the Linux system. Okay, so I don't get the any other users who are present there. Can I see anything like cat, etc pass wd? Is there any user in this? I can see USB MX and FTP user. I can see Nathan, LXD system. All these are then the default users and the daemons which are created for running the system. So we don't have to worry about them. So we just need to look at couple of five or six. I mean, depending upon the number of users who are created in this server, we can look into it. But here, we don't have any other user other than Nathan, and rest all are just the default users. So we also don't get anything like that. Can I check to see if I have sudo privileges? So sudo -l and is asking for the password. Let's copy and paste the password into that location there. Let me copy and then paste it here. Press enter. It says sorry, user Nathan may not run sudo on cap. So it is not allowing us to run sudo as a command in the system. Sudo is nothing but a, it's like asking an administrator if I can run this highly privileged application or service, something like that itself. Asking in this Linux system, asking super user do and looking at or doing any execution. So using -l option is going to show if I have any privileges or anything like that. I can demonstrate that on my personal computer. If I say sudo -l, it's going to show what are all the contents that I can run as a super user being this user. So it says Pranava Rao may run the following commands on Linux system. I can run anything without actually entering the password. Now, this doesn't happen if you're running Kali Linux by scratch. Like if you use their default versions or even if you boot up into an ISO image, you will not have this permissions enabled. I have specifically modified the settings of this to say that, hey, no matter what, don't ask me for the sudo password because I hate entering my sudo password because it's very long. If I log out of the system, it's like very long into very long that every time I use sudo, it's going to be like, oh god, I have to type this again, and that to my capabilities of typing in the right spellings is incredible. So I having a very long password with that thing, it's a frustrating thing. So I don't have sudo passwords. But generally, you would also look into that. Now, okay, that's also not there in the system. What else can we do? Can we look into something like shadow file, etc shadow? Is it there? It's permission denied, so I don't even get access to it. So shadow file would generally contain something like the password or the hash of the passwords of the users who are present in the system. We can brute force using some common dictionaries or something like that to get the passwords. But again, so it's not existing in this here also. This is where some knowledge and experience about Linux privilege escalation comes into play, because this would come by experience and knowledge, and doing this more and more would come in here. Or in such cases, now I want to identify what could be the possible places that I can get into the system. So we use a scanner called as line piece, which does the work of scanning a Linux system or a Linux environment and identify what are the possible ways that I can actually get into this system by running something, or it's going to scan and see if there's any misconfiguration which is present in the system that could lead us into compromising the system or anything like that. So it's a tool built for Linux privilege escalation itself. I have it in my this Kali Linux machine. It is inside my personal folder and tools. In here it is under scanners, so cd scanners, and it's called as linepiece.sh, right? So this is the tool which you can use. Now, how do I get this tool, or how do you get this tool? You can just search this on your web browser, linepiece GitHub, and the first URL that shows up, you can come into this location here, and there's a release page, right? That is uh somewhere there's a release page. um okay. This actually talks about line piece. Yeah, it is right here. You can go to this release page, and inside the release page you can download the linepiece.sh file, which is what I will even will just show it here. How do we do it? I will come into this. I'll save it here itself. No, I'll put it into my tools folder itself, scanners, and I will replace this file. Yes, replace it. So I've installed linepiece or downloaded linepiece tool from my system. Now, if you try to run directly, it will not run. You need to give some privilege or execution privileges to it, which I will do it on my target system and not here. So this tool, linepiece, is meant for doing some Linux privilege escalation itself. If you go through the GitHub page, it says here it's for Linux privilege escalation awesome script. So it's a script built for doing a privilege escalation in the system. Let's run this and look at it in live itself instead of talking about it. So, okay, we have line piece in this system here. What I will do is I will establish a local web server on my Kali Linux machine, the attacker's machine here, and then download this tool from my local machine into the victim's machine or the victim's user, which is Nathan, and then I will run this tool to be able to identify if there's any vulnerabilities there. So for doing that, I will run a command called as sudo python 3 -m. I'm using a module of http.server, and I want to host it on port 80 itself. So this is going to be my command that I want to be entering and for hosting it. So I'll press enter. What happens by this is that a local HTTP server is established in from my system. Oh, I need to also get the IP address of it. So I've killed that session and say ifconfig. I will get the IP address of my local system. That is this computer attacker's IP address. And I will save it in my notes. I will say uh, attacker's IP and then paste the IP address there. Now I will run the same command to host, clear my screen, and then I will run the same Python command to be able to host a web server. Now what I will do is, now since I also know that the line piece is existing in this system here, let's copy this name and come here called as wget. It's a service which is used for getting anything from the website. So I press wget and it says missing URL, which means that this tool is also installed in this target system. So I'll say wget and specify the URL or the address that I want to be getting this information from. I will paste this IP address. So copy this IP, paste it in here, and then what file do I want to capture or download from that address is this linepiece.sh tool. So I'll just specify this and press enter. It's going to connect to my system here. You can even look at the log. It says this IP address connected to the system to be able to get the linepiece.sh file, and it responded with okay. And we can also see that our tool has been installed or downloaded, not installed, I'm sorry. It has been downloaded into the local system here. You can see linepiece.sh is existing on my terminal here. Okay, now let's make this line piece file executable so that we can execute it and run this. So I'll use a command I'm sorry, there is no sudo in this. So chmod, which is going to change the modification of a file. I want to specify it to be an executable. So I'm going to specify +x and then mention the file that I want to make it as an executable. Pressing enter, that now if it'll change its color. So if you compare from here to here, it's a little bold. Also, if I look at the permissions, I can see that this has been given the execution permission also. So X mentions that it's executable. So this is like how the permissions are defined in Linux. This talks about if you're able to read it or not. W talks about if you're able to write into that file or not, and X means that if you're able to execute or not. And it has different privileges which are being given there. Again, when you learn about Linux and Linux architectures and how Linux works, you'll be able to understand this in more depth. But just for the knowledge of this, now the linepiece.sh file is an executable file that you can just run. Yes, let's run this file, right? So dot slash linepiece.sh, pressing enter, that starts to run here. I'll just zoom out because the screen would be too small to look into. And now I'll run this. This is a cute little turtle that shows up whenever you learn line piece. This is a very cute, fun thing, right? Also, this talks about what exactly is this doing and all those things. This is going to take some time. It needs to scan every single thing. It checks for all the configurations, databases, everything that is present in this server, and then it's going to give us some output of it. So it's also giving some, okay, what could be the possible vulnerabilities that is existing, the CVEs which is present in this server, which could be unpatched and we could also be exploiting in this case. So we can see that there is something related to kernel. The name is netfilter, head is outbound, right? Okay, so some information or some vulnerability is there, uh, and it is talking about that CVE record of it, right? And it has so much information that is coming up. we will we can actually wait for it to show up, or let's come from the top. Let's, by the time we start discussing and talking about what information are we actually getting here, we will be able to, as we go down, we'll be able to meet where the tool has ended. So it again discloses that it's a Linux operating system. It right now our current user group is 1001, and that is given to the user called Nathan, and host name or the computer's name is cap. And these are the things which is available for network discovery, which means that you can ping this machine and it is going to respond to it. So that is also talking about that information. It says that even bin bash is available, which is the SSH service. That's what we have logged in here. And netcat is also available in that. So it's basic information which we don't have to worry about. Coming to the system information, we can see that it is a Linux distribution of the Ubuntu based version or the read of it. Then sudo version is 1.8.31. If you look into this version, or it also gives a very good link of from where can we actually see. Coming here, we can even, it gives us a blog post that how do you exploit if the machine is having this version of sudo installed into it. So it talks about How do we exploit? What could be the possible ways of getting privilege escalations, enumerations done? Everything is just shown in this page here, which we will not get into, but yeah, that is also present there. Then what other information is present here? Okay, so these are all just the basic information that it is just trying to disclose and give us out. Ah, anything which would help us filter down. Okay, these are all just basic information. Modules can be loaded, kernels, we get some CVE, which we can also potentially later try to exploit. I can add into my notes, but since I've already solved this, I know that we would not be using this as a exploit. Again, you could use it and run down that rabbit hole to trying exploiting this. Now, what happens is in a very practical scenario, you would not be able to just be like, okay, this is what I can ignore, this is what I can try. But anything which is marked in yes or which is marked in red is something that you can actually go in and then try to see if you can exploit it. But since this is a CTF environment, I can filter out and say, okay, yeah, these are information that can be ignored. So okay, so these are all the things it is disclosing and giving us some information. It's like open files by the processors. So what is the current files which are opened by the Nathan user? They're being disclosed here, and all these information. Okay, scrolling down, we get all these information of the system here. This is the system information. Okay, and yeah, so see, it's like root owned and root writable. So it's talking about this process, which is system bus socket, is root user is enabled and root user is owning it or writing into it. So if you ever try to exploit it related to this service, system bus socket, it is saying that you can become the root user with this, and it's highlighting us with the points there, which is okay, but that's not what I'm actually currently looking into. All these are some parameters that you can actually read and get those exploits possibly running. So what do we have that might be interesting? Okay, going through this, do we? It's talking about all the rules that is set in the configuration files, which we can, as of now, we can currently ignore it. We don't want all those information. So okay, this is the network information. Now it's showing about the network related informations that is present in this system. This is the same thing that we actually saw it earlier. That's okay. So anything interesting that we can see here? We see the netstat information, the same thing that we had seen earlier, talking about what are the internal services and hosts which are running in here. And this gives us in a very clean format, talking about, okay, this is the point where that you need to look into and possibly see if there is any vulnerabilities in it. Running through this, still now we did not see anything there. So it's trying to do some password related things, and this is the user information. Uh, we can actually, we don't have to press enter, but yeah, come out of this tool. Yeah, it is continuing to run now. Okay, so we saw all these things. Right now, it's the user information that is being displayed. Checking for some tokens and pull kits, which is okay. It's talking about all the policies in the system. It's all fine. I'm looking for a very specific thing. This again would actually take some time to load and then come up. I'll see if it does, if I have overlooked it in the beginning itself, because these things are which will just come up right in front of us. and I would have overlooked about it. I don't see it here. There's a way, right? Action, anything related to Python that I've missed. Okay, that is one Python, Python point 3. What about next? Yeah. So this is what I've overlooked. Oh, this was in the bottom. So all these came in later, I guess. Yeah, these came in later. So we were in the right track itself. Okay. So uh yeah, after all these files and interesting permissions that has been given to this, right? So here it talks about what are the permissions that each of these files in the system have been given. Now, what happens is in a system, you would want certain actions to be done, right? So those actions require different privileges to be given. So what generally someone would do is they would give or grant that specific file or specific process to be able to run with certain privileges in it. So that's what it is looking into here. It is looking like what could be the possible files with what kind of permissions given to it. So we can see that user bin unmount is given the root privilege. That's the reason it's marked in red, and so on with these things. Now, do they have to be given those permissions? Possibly yes and no. Sometimes by default also you would have so many permissions which would have been given to a file, but generally these are the system modified permissions that it is highlighting. Like these would not be in a normal system that these files would be having those permissions. So yeah, here what happens is if you look at one specific condition here, which is also marked with yellow, which means that hey, just look into this. This is a very serious thing. It says processes with capabilities, a non-zero cap, a limit. Okay, so it's just talking about this, but a point here to note is that it's talking about the processes with capabilities, and it's saying that if you're using user bin Python 3.8 as a Python service to run, it has root privileges given to all these modules. Okay, these are the modules with the Python, which is there, which is the cap set UID and cap netbind service plus IP or something is there. Okay, so I don't know what this exactly is. So let's just Google this module and understand what does that actually do in case of Python. Right. So let's come here and then paste it here and says privilege escalation via cap SD this. Let's open all these links in random and then go through this. This is a reference blog of someone talking about, okay, what does this do and how do you do a privilege escalation with it. Now again, I've gone through this blog, so I'll just skip that and get into this specific blog post that I'm interested in showing here. So capabilities, this is the Linux manual page, okay, talking about the capabilities of what a Python module can hold in a Linux environment. We can see a capabilities list. It talks about the following list shows the capabilities implemented on Linux and the operations of the behaviors that each capabilities permits. And if I search, okay, if I search with cap SEUID and paste it in here, it says that make arbitrary manipulations of process UIDs, okay, and forge UIDs when passing socket credentials via Unix domain socket. Write a user ID mapping in a user namespace. Yeah, I mean, yeah, any person who is looking at this manual for the first time would be overwhelmed with what did I just say here, right? Don't worry. So what happens in Linux is that there are certain level of privileges, and those privileges are meant with the hierarchical number. Okay, so this is what it is talking about, and it is referred as UIDs. So every user in the system, depending upon the level of accesses and the creations of those users, a user ID is going to be specified to them. That's what it is talking. That this capabilities with the Python what is here, which is installed Python 3.8, it is giving us the ability to be able to modify a user ID that is running that current session of the Python, a Python environment. I'm sorry. It's giving the user to be able to modify their user ID in that current session. So that's what this cap set UID module is doing in Python there. Okay, that's one thing. What about this capnet bind service doing? What is that doing? Let's also search for that. It says find a socket to internet domain privileged port, and it is less than that. Okay, so it's nothing but talking about the same thing there, that it is going to be doing a privileged domain ports are going to be modified there. So, what in summary is this whole process that it has identified is that if I run Python 3.8, which is installed in user bin of this system, which we also have access to, or else this would have not pointed it out. We also have those access to be able to use this file. So if I use this 3.8 Python module, I will be able to change my user ID into a privileged user. Now, why is that a big thing, right? Let me kill this server here and demonstrate that implication in this terminal here. Now, I, as a normal user, if I say who am I and ask the system, it says it's Pranav Rao. Even though I have any permissions in my sudo privileges, if I look at my ID, it says UID is 1000, which means that I'm the first user who has been created in this system, and I have some permissions that I can do with my users and the groups that I'm a part of, such as I'm a part of my own username called Pranavarao, and I'm part of floppy, sudo, and other parts of the users here. So I can do all these manipulations, and I have access to all these things. So that's the general gist of it. What is the user ID of a root user? If I switch my user from Pranav Raf to the sudo user, for that I just need to say sudo switch user and then give a hyphen or even a blank space. That would shift into a root user, who's the ultimate user even in my Linux operating system. So if I say who am I, it says I'm the root. And a root, if I check the root's ID, it says it is 0. Whereas if you compare the ID of mine with the root user, it is 0 and this is 1000. So now here, since I had the permission of the sudo and I could say sudo su and then switch into a root user, I'm able to do this. But what is happening in the case of Python and what our tool has identified is that if I am running a Python instance, I will be able to modify because of these two modules which is present there, or these two capabilities which have been given to our Python system. I can manipulate my user ID as a root user, which is the root user is the 0th user, and then be able to become the user. Yeah. So let's get into the part where we actually do this, and then I can show this to you. So we will say we can't use sudo, sorry. So we will say user bin and call our Python 3.8, right? So if I open this Python interpreter shell, pressing enter, I get this shell here. So what I will do is I will import OS, which is nothing but Python's module to be able to run anything which is related to system itself. So I'll import the OS module into this session here, and I'll say os dot set UID and call this as 0. Pressing enter. Now what it has done is that it has set the user ID for this current session of the system be 0, which means that I am the root user here. Now, all that I have to do is say os dot system, and I want to run the bin. Let me specify the bin bash part of it, and pressing enter. I am logged in as the root user and executing the bin bash, which is nothing but your terminal's file, as a privileged root user. So if I now check, Who am I say it says root, which means my ID is also going to be 0, just like how I had in my case. It is going to be the root user, and I can even see the group ID, which is Nathan, and other users who are there, so which is also seen here. Okay, now that I'm the user, what do I have here? I'm the same directory of the user. Can I now go to cd, the root, and list out the contents? I can see that there's a folder called as root. Can I go into that cd root? I can go because I'm the ultimate user. No one is going to be asking me any questions. No one is supposed to be like, hey, why are you doing that? Nothing. I'm the boss now. So I have the complete capabilities. If I want, I can turn off the server too. So that's the access that I have. So now, as a proof of confirmation that I have become the root user, we get the root flag there. So cat root.txt, copying this flag and coming into the browser here, pasting it here, submitting the flag. Yeah. So we have successfully compromised and done this system here. Let's click on OK. And what about, yeah, can I give some review? Yeah. So piece of cake, submit rating. Yep. With that, we have completed the entire room of it. So it's also asking us if you want to do the guided mode. Let's do it. Let's also solve this part. How many TCP ports are open? Which were 3. So let's answer that question too, because when we did the nmap scan, we were able to. Let me exit out of this. Also go to the directory. Oh, it's in tools. Okay, so let's go to Pranavarao, YouTube, HTB. Sorry, HTB cap. Yeah, cat nmap, and what was inside here? .nmap. Okay, .nmap. So we have 3 ports here. That's what it is asking as the first question to see how many ports are enabled, and that is 3. So we did it from the nmap scan. Now I'm just answering these questions as a part of what they're asking. But if not, we have successfully compromised this entire server. I'll get into a moment about talking about the practicalities and how do you get into cybersecurity and everything after I've just finished answering these things. Let's also have some chit chatting, and then we can close the stream. I know it's probably 2.5 hours now, so I will keep this short after finishing these things. After running a security snapshot, the browser is redirected to the path format something ID, where ID represents the ID number of the scan. What is something? So something was data in our case. We'll answer that. Are you able to get the other user scan? So we were able to get the other user scan, which is 0, 3, 2, and all those things. So we can mark this as yes, we were able to get it. What about the next question? What is the ID of the PCAP file that contains sensitive data? It is 0, which had the sensitive data. Which application layer protocol is the PCAP file can the sensitive data be found in? Which was the FTP. We can answer that as FTP. Again, this is like if you're going through a guided mode. We went through the adventure mode. That's where we had to just find the user flag and the root flag. If not, you can even go to the guided mode, which is only limited to certain machines, mostly retired machines. But this one is open for anyone to just get started and all those things. Okay, so you have managed to correct the FTP Nathan's FTP password. On what other service does this password work, which is SSH? So pressing enter. What is the full part to the binary on this machine that special capabilities that can be abused to obtain the root privilege? So it is usr lib. Is it? I just forgot. Yeah, user bin. Sorry, not lib. It is user bin Python 3.8. Done. And we submit the root flag. So that's done. So final steps. Okay, I'll do that review part later. Let's just get into some chatting now. Okay, so how was it? How was so far today's stream about? Where we were talking about OSINT, and we even did some beginner friendly privilege escalation with Linux systems and PCAP analysis and all those things. How was your experience? You can comment down in the chat here if anyone has followed. Okay, current viewers is just two. Okay, so there is no questions that I am assuming would come into. So anyway, I'll just refill my cup with water. Again, this is water. For anyone viewing, this is water, nothing else. So, coffees or teas I would have taken, but not in such huge quantities for sure. I like to drink water because it helps me cool down in this room because there is so much of lights and all those things, which and even this system just starts to shout with its fan and all those things. Yeah. Um. Okay, I don't see any chats which is up. up. Uh. But anyway, my point that I wanted to make here is like, how practical is what you just saw here about this hack the box thing. Now, in a day to day life, as a penetration tester myself, do you get such environments to exploit, be able to exploit a machine? No. Okay, but do you get any misconfigured environment that potentially might lead into exploiting this? Yes. Most of the time, what happens is that we are bound by our scope of being limited to finding the vulnerabilities which is related to web application itself, or which is related to the system itself, or anything in that specific format. It doesn't require, or we are never given a full scope in case of a penetration testing to be able to say, like, hey, this is what is the vulnerability that we found and we have exploited it. We've got root privileges and all those things. So no, this is not that practical, but the motive of doing hack the box or try hack me or any of these CTF things is that you are brushing your knowledge and skills that you would be using in a day-to-day environment to be able to practice here. It's like a environment where you can safely execute and get that thrill and feel and knowledge about, okay, this is how I can compromise into the system, this is how I can try exploiting so and so thing. So these machines and hack the box and these platforms, they just provide you with giving those foothold if you're trying to get started or brushing your skills or practicing or something like that. Now I myself is not very regular in hack the box, uh, but because I compensate this thing with other thing. But if anyone else is trying to planning of getting into cybersecurity, I would highly recommend them to start with Hack the Box Academy, where they and even TryHackMe. Both of them have a very beautiful resources. Again, this video is not sponsored or motivated to promote them. I'm purely doing this out of showcasing something out of something which I think would help you all to getting started with cybersecurity or get a feel of how this looks or anything like that. So this is purely on the basis of that. It's not sponsored or anything like that. But again, hack the box if you're watching, or try hack me if you're watching, you know where to reach out for a sponsorship. But yeah, what happens is this is not a you cannot compare this to a very practical scenario. Okay, this is how it's going to happen in the real world. No, this is not like that. But this actually shows the practicality between a movie on how they show hacking is to how actual hacking looks like, right? This is not like a movie type where I keep on typing on a keyboard and something happens, wonders happen. No, it's not like that. This shows, okay, you need to be grinding and then searching and then doing all those things to be able to even compromise a machine. Since this was a beginner friendly and very easy machine, we got a foothold and all those informations were given. Also, uh, yeah, my point was that if you're trying to get into cybersecurity, I would recommend these two places to begin your journey with: Hack the Box Academy, Hack the Box, and TryHackMe. I give this analogy like Hack the Box is like a test that you can take in. Hack the Box Academy is like a playground that you can try and get a hands-on experience about learning it. And TryHackMe is like a beginner friendly where they hold your hand and then take you through each steps of solving and all those things. So combining all these three platforms, and then it's going to be a very good starting place for you all to get started. With that, currently I don't see any questions or anything that is coming up. So, and even the stream has gone far beyond my scheduled time. So I feel that we can close our live stream by, yeah. So yeah, that is it. So I wanted to just demonstrate these two things, which is the TryHackMe's water bottle, and Hack the Box's cap machines. Now my blogs are going to be coming out soon. I'll be posting it once I finish the stream. You can find that out in Pranavara.tech. It's my own website that I keep uploading the contents here. So try hack me and hack the box contents are out there, which you can go through and solve and all those things. So yeah, I will be posting out that, and also I'll update the link in the comment down below to, if anyone who is watching later can find my blog post also there. Also in the description, I assume that the content is there, right? I have added the links to all those channels, all those websites. Let me just see. Let me see if it is there. Yeah, I have added the links to all those sites. Okay, so with that, I think we can come to an end to the stream. I'll just wait for a couple of more seconds. If anyone has any questions or anything like that, we can uh, answer those questions, and then we can probably end the stream. Just a couple of more seconds. If not, I'm always reachable. You can find my social media accounts and links in the description below. You can reach me out at any point in time. I also have a Discord server. Anyone interested into directly getting communicated with me, getting in touch, and it's like a community that I'm trying to build where uh, professionals and people who are into cybersecurity can come and then share their experiences and help and guide and all those things in that Discord channel. So if you're interested, you can even join to my Discord server. The links are there in the down description below. Also, it can be found in my website here. So with that, I think I can now come to an end with the live stream. I will be closing with the live stream now. Yep, I don't see any questions coming out. So with that, hope to meet you all in the next live stream. There are more videos that is coming out. They're in the queue. I'm just slow with the editing part. So yeah, once the editing is completed, I'll be posting out those videos related to forensics and all those things. So yeah, hope to meet you on the next stream or next video or in any other short format or anything like that. With that, I want to end this live stream. Thank you for watching. Always stay happy, stay smiling. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.